Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Al, and patch 10.17 has finally got a release date, with a smaller Dragonflight update set to arrive in just a few weeks on September the 5th. And with the release of 10.17, we will likely see the patch 10.2 in tow, as the next major content update of Dragonflight will likely arrive to the PTR shortly after it officially goes live. And just like every other major content update, 10.2 is going to bring with it a brand new raid tier, likely themed around the green Dragonflight and the Emerald Dream, as well as a brand new Mythic Plus season, even more PvP Season 3 updates, new crafting changes, and of course a ton of class changes often welcomed by the community. So far, Dragonflight has been able to deliver on a series of class updates which have massively overhauled many of our playstyles. We've seen anything like reworks to the specs of Paladin, as Retribution gained a brand new talent tree for the 10.07, as well as the most recent Holy Paladin improvements of 10.15. And with many other classes benefiting from much simpler talented reworks, with most of these classes seeing adjustments thanks to the invaluable feedback of their respective class communities. Patch 10.2 is yet another chance for even more improvements, and we know some classes are set to get reworks on the horizon, reworks which are yet to reveal themselves over on the 10.17 PTR, likely saved for that next major Dragonflight update. As someone who has had the lucky opportunity, I get a chance to experience a variety of classes and experience firsthand some of the biggest benefits and improvements, which makes me excited for what other classes could receive similar updates going forward. And today I decided to put together a video highlighting the 4 classes I would love to see either reworked or revamped as we head into the 10.2, primarily highlighting the issues that are widely shared by the general community. But right before we get into this update video, most of you guys watching these are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do, so let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get more regular content regarding Dragonflight, patch 10.15 or any future updates going forward. The class of Hunter saw a ton of changes during the development of Dragonflight, and has even seen its spec talent trees get a few more iterations since the release of this expansion, and I found myself enjoying the overall class's structure, either as a Windrunner guided marksman or as the Grenadier survivalist spec, and 10.2 could be their time to shine with even more additional improvements. First, the survivability of Hunter is notably lower than most other classes. Some playstyles have naturally durable armor, additional health, or even passive reductions, or even a cheat death mechanic, which keeps them sturdy in some of the high-end content. And Hunters generally struggle when matched at a similar level, notably less durable than most other classes. Hunters also don't come with any specific party utility, which will separate them from other playstyles. Most Hunters are skilled at their craft as they trap their foes while providing additional support for allies in raids and dungeons, but nothing makes them stand out like a mage or a warlock in their own unique way. In the Beast Mastery's Hunter talent tree, we see 2 nodes which receive very little gameplay. Even with its most recent improvements, the aspect of the wild still falls short as a viable option. Same can be said for Call of the Wild, as it captures the thematic mastery of animals on paper, but not so much when it comes to direct practice. The next class that's already planned to receive a revamp is the Rogue, though no specific details have been given on just yet. Rogue has been the main of mine since the days of Pandaria, and has continued to capture my attention as all 3 specs of Outlaw, Subtlety, and Assassination offer plenty of compelling gameplay flavors. But not every class is perfect, and rogues could definitely use a sharper pair of daggers. Starting with Assassination, which is the master of their craft, capable of specializing for a variety of encounters, whether it is AoE dungeons or single target raid fights. But the current iteration of Assassination can either spec to become a master of one or a novice at both. They can enhance their single target or AoE damage, but have a hard time finding a good spot in the middle, with capstones that are just not as competitive for that specific purpose. The spec also has an affinity for single target damage, thanks to the design of Deathmark, the primary offensive cooldown, which marks a single target, setting them for an execution, but it has big limitations when it comes to big group environments. Outlaw is another spec which is most dear to me, but it could use a few more fixes. Roll the Bones is a unique mechanic which provides you with a variety of combat enhancements that cause you to make subtle changes within your rotation, but it also comes with some randomness as part of its gameplay, which is very off-putting for some of the newer players, even with all the increased tools to help you better control the dice of fate. And over the last few expansions, its array of combat abilities has grown over time, leading to it feeling fairly bloated. Another aspect which isn't super attractive to some of the new players first time picking up the spec. The next class I've grown to enjoy is the Priest, with its 2 healing specs feeling even stronger thanks to the most recent class buffs, as well as its spec of Shadow, which continues to dominate within Mythic Plus dungeons. Overall, Priest is an experience that's easy to recommend, whether you want to support your allies, tear down your foes, or something in between. The class has got you covered on all fronts. The one ability that still plagues the class community, and that is of Power Infusion, a holy buff which enhances another, increasing their haste by a generous amount. The Infusion haste buff is quite potent, with certain classes getting far more value than others. While this isn't an experience of every priest, lots have reported unfortunate social interactions over its usage, whether inside of an organized raiding guild where everybody's fighting for its benefits, or angry whispers inside of dungeons because you buffed the wrong target. And as someone who prefers unique class mechanics, I would like for Power Infusion to stay, though a redesign could make it less of a burden. With the newest edition of Augmentation Evoker proven to be mostly a success, as the spec is buff focused with its primary role on enhancing your allies with buffs that rival Power Infusion, though most of its benefits feed a large group of allies, and allows for a smart targeting feature, making it much less cumbersome to manage. Power Infusion could potentially mimic Ebon Might by spreading its wealth amongst a handful of allies, while potentially enhancing the priest's damage or healing abilities. But besides base class changes, we do know that Discipline has a talent revamp in its future, which will likely bolster the Shadow and Holy healing elements. Finally, I'd love to see even more changes grace the class of Warlock, which I've been working on gearing as of recently, as all of my other characters are starting to feel more final. The class of Warlock has always been a welcoming experience, whether you're raining fire as destruction, slowly defiling your foes as affliction, or overwhelming them with increasingly powerful demonic forces as demonology. And the most recent changes of 10.1.5 has left each spec feeling a little bit stronger than ever before, as more quality updates have greeted every single playstyle. Though as fun as they could be further improved come patch 10.2 with some of the much requested community changes. First, in the Warlock class tree, talents like Soulburn, Inquisitor's Gaze, and even at times Summon Soulkeeper can all feel quite potent. But the talent of Grim Feast falls short as a capstone option. It does gain quite a bit of value within PvP, but its overall placement feels a little bit low in the talent tree, and most Warlocks agree that it should be made more easier to access. Then we have the spec of Destruction, which is easy to get into, especially if it's your first time exploring the class of Warlock. The Chaos Bolts are incredibly satisfying to cast, as they explode upon your targets with massive critical strikes. Though the spec does lack mobility, that still plagues Destruction. Unlike Affliction and Demonology, Destruction performance does take a notable dip whenever you can't hold steady, and the most recent tier set hasn't made him any more mobile. Alternative instant cast options aren't nearly as potent, which can create some punishing scenarios where high movement is absolutely necessary. Another spec that's actually recently received some new improvements is Affliction, as the Weaver of Corruptions and Agonies did see some nice talented changes, with better support for its dot management as well as some bolstering towards its AoE elements. Though many believe that Affliction could still gain even more quality of life changes, specifically in the content like Mythic Plus dungeons. The talent of Vile Taint makes spreading your agonies a whole lot easier, similar to how you could spread corruptions with Seed of Corruption. Though unlike Seed, Vile Taint's cooldown makes agony spread feel a lot less fluid, as it creates a gap where your agony stacks will eventually fall off. Similar to the Shadow Priest Shadowcraft's design, which refreshes your periodic effects entirely while still maintaining their full value, Vile Taint could be tweaked a bit to gain a very similar benefits. Vile Taint's cooldown and damage could be adjusted to have a much shorter downtime, which will allow for much better AoE damage over time management. I want to thank all of you so much for watching this video and hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, I want to hear what classes would you love to see revamped or adjusted for the patch 10.2. And which playstyles do you think could use some sort of refresher, either as a complete rework or simply some talent tree adjustments? As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.